All right, welcome everybody to our midterm review number 2. So the main thing that I wanted to go over with you all is set theory, because looking over the quiz results, that's probably the topic that has kind of the least traction, I think, with students. So look at that, that's cool. All right. So there's 6 questions on the midterm on set theory. And let's say that our universe is all fruit. Okay, every possible kind of fruit. If we have set A that is apple, banana, and coconut, okay, A, B, and C, essentially, and B is banana, coconut, and durian, what is the size of A intersect B? In other words, how many elements are in both A and in B in plain English? And this is something that students get wrong constantly. The vertical slashes, the absolute value bars. This is something that, like, I like that color. This is something that students get wrong, like, constantly. Like I'm trying to answer it's banana, or whatever, and it's only taking numbers. It's because the absolute value bars mean the size of the set. So please, on chat, tell me how many elements are in both A, B, and C. I'll color code it for you even, so you can see it. We'll make you yellow, gold kind of, and we'll make you light green. So how many elements are in both A and in B? Eight. That is not, in fact, the case. A has 3 elements in it: apple, banana, and coconut. B has banana, coconut, and durian. And we're asking you for the count of the elements that are both in A and in B. So apple, for example, is not in A intersect B because it is only in A. Durian is not in A intersect B because it's only in B. However, banana and coconut both are in A and B, so the answer is 2. So good job to Riley on that one. So only coconut and banana show up in both A and in B. That's what the intersection symbol means. The intersection symbol means given everybody in A and everybody in B, do the Venn diagram, the thing in the middle, show me everybody that is both in A and in B. And the vertical slashes says, give me the count of that set. So if A intersects B is banana and coconut, because it appears in both, then the vertical slash of that is 2, because there are 2 elements, banana and coconut, that appear in both A and B. So next question, what is A union B? So A union B is union is sort of the opposite of intersect. It says make a set of everybody who is in either set. So build a new set called A intersect B, or A union B, sorry, that has everybody in A and everybody in B in it, eliminating duplicates. So what is the set A union B? It is most definitely not 6. In part because you're not eliminating duplicates, right? Banana appears twice, coconut appears twice. And so if I had been asking you for the size, which I wasn't, all of you guys put down numbers, there's no vertical slashes there. Okay? Good. Apple, banana, coconut, and durian. Very good, Seth. That is, in fact, the correct answer. So, and this is why we're doing this on the midterm review. A union B is everybody in A and everybody in B. I didn't put vertical slashes there. I'm not asking you for the count. I'm asking you for the actual set created. And so apple, banana, coconut, and durian is, in fact, the correct answer. Now, the size of that set is 4. Okay, A, B, C, D. So another thing that students struggle with, in addition to the vertical slashes, because they constantly forget that the vertical slashes means count the size of the set. You know, look at the set, be like, okay, there's 3 people in that set. The answer is 3. The other thing that people screw up is complement. Okay, and so if our universe is all fruit, a complement means all fruit other than what's in A. So, for example, is grapes an element of a complement? What do you guys think? So A is apple, banana, and coconut. I don't know if is coconut a fruit. I don't know. Fruits are a weird definition anyway. But if A is apple, banana, and coconut, are grapes a member of a complement? Because a complement is all the fruits in the world other than what's in A. Yeah, so grapes are most definitely a member of a complement. Sure. So what if we intersect A complement with B? What I'm asking you to do in plain English is give me all fruit that is not in A, but is in B. So which fruit are not in A, but are in B? Are in B? Rhythm and blues? I don't know. Yeah, just Dorian. Very good. So Dorian is, in fact, the answer to that question. Good job. And earn your participation points. And do 2 of you guys have the same icon? I guess you do, huh? Okay. Set C is Z, which is all integers. Normally you do this with like a weird Z with a line through it, but whatever. And set D is all even integers. What is the size of C? How many integers are there? What do you guys think? Can you write them all down? Every possible integer? An integer is a whole number, 5 and 4 and -2, 0. How many integers are there? Infinite. Yeah. So on Canvas, whenever I give you a question like this, -1, and it'll say that on the question, -1 would be infinite, because there's no way of like writing the infinity symbol on it. Yeah. So it is infinite. How many even integers are there? What do you guys think? It is also infinite. And in fact, it is the same number. There are just as many even integers as there are integers, which makes people very confused sometimes. So, good. The, yeah, okay, well, they're the same size, right? What is the intersect of C and B? C is all integers. B is banana, coconut, and Dorian. It's kind of hard to read. What is the intersection of these 3 kinds of fruits with integers? What do you think? What is the size of the set formed by intersecting all integers, numbers, with fruits? None, right? None is the answer. There are no fruits that are also integers. So the answer to this is 0. Okay. If you intersect integers with fruits, you get the empty set. The size of the empty set is 0. What is C intersected with D complement? So D complement is everybody who's not an even integer. So how many integers are not even? Put it that way. how would you describe the set of all integers that are not even? How would you describe those guys? It is odd integers, but the answer is not infinity. Note that I did not have vertical slashes here, right? So the actual answer to this is just odd integers. Okay. So what elements are in C that are not in D? The answer is odd integers. There's no, like, this is what I'm saying. Like, students get the vertical slash thing wrong all the time, right? If you have vertical slashes, you're asking for the count. You don't have it, you're asking for the actual set itself. Yeah, very good, Linda. So, okay, so also on the midterm, valid, invalid, and sound. You can have some questions on that. Modus ponens, modus tollens, affirmative consequent, denying the antecedent. Around 4 questions on that. Make sure you have your cheat sheets ready so you can recognize a modus ponens when it sees you. A couple truth table. I think 1 truth table with 2 points on it, I think. The majority of the midterm, though, is going to be fallacies. And so if you go on to the files section on Canvas, I think I linked it maybe on the midterm, or not on the midterm, the module section. That's wrong. I put up a cheat sheet for you that has every fallacy. It doesn't have cognitive distortions. It just has fallacies. Nope, don't show grades, people. Don't show grades. Thank you. Right around here, you can see the fallacies cheat sheet. And that has basically all the fallacies you need to know for this class. And so it's got an example of each one. It's got the definition and an example and maybe some references, but not many. Yeah. So that cheat sheet there should give you everything you need to know for this midterm, and then some. It doesn't tell you cognitive biases. It's just fallacies. So yeah, there's going to be like, I don't know, 16 or so fallacy questions on it and cognitive bias questions on it. So make sure you study your fallacies. Okay, review those. Framing, corporate censorship, digital ownership. So these are like the social issues in computer science. So make sure you understand these concepts of what is framing, what is corporate censorship, what is digital ownership, and what are the issues with digital ownership, i.e., you don't actually own anything. Yeah, when you own a book, you can sell the book, you can destroy the book, you can mark up the book, you can, basically do anything other than photocopy it and sell it. But with a digital book, you don't basically have rights to almost anything. Like, I guess you can read the book, but you can't resell it. You can't mark it up unless they allow you to. So on and so forth. And they can always revoke your ownership of it too, which is the scariest part of it. Cancel culture and AI. Okay, so make sure you understand these concepts. Binary representation. I think there's like 1 question on binary representation in there. Being able to convert from binary to decimal. Probably 1 question on Python, 1 question on Scratch. And then the rest of it would be on ethical systems and theories of truth. So, but yeah, this is the thing that I think people are weakest at. So make sure you review set theory, at least going on the quiz results. Can you go over Python 1 more time? There's not like you can't just like go over all of Python, but the Microsoft Learn thing here is this. Okay. And so make sure you run through the whole thing. It's got step-by-step directions on everything you need to do. And it's going to teach you how to do algebra, input and output, loops, conditionals. It's going to teach you all of computer science in about 3 hours. So I've already done part of it. It's about 3 hours. And then you'll have Python under your belt. I will ask you a question about Python. So, yeah, there's not really an easy way for me to go over 3 hours of material in one question. All I can say is it will come from here. Okay. In fact, it will probably be one of the review questions from this Microsoft Learn unit. So prep that. Okay. Good question. Thank you, Carson. All right. So let's go through a sample midterm from last semester. I've put every midterm ever for this class up publicly. You can take them as many times as you want. It does not affect your grade. Every semester I get students being like, do I have to do the sample midterm? And I'm like, no, it's a sample midterm. You know, like the grading group that it's put in doesn't count for anything, right? So you'll get points, but the points are in a group that is worth 0. So, you know, you get points, but it won't affect any of your grades in Canvas. Okay. And so some students get all panicked because they see like to-do list, you know, midterm 2, sample midterm 2, you know, like, oh, I've got to do this. And you don't. I would recommend you do it because the best way of prepping for a midterm is to take previous midterms. And I've got a lot of them now. I think I've got like 4 or 5 up you can take. So that's like, I don't know, 150, 200 questions that'll help prep you for it. Now, some of the topics I talk about every semester are different. So if you see a question on one of the practice midterms saying like, hey, what did this guest speaker say? I didn't have a guest speaker this semester yet. I want to bring one in, but I'm still working on that. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. All right. So let's go through the sample midterm from last semester. In The Lord of the Rings, the elf lord Glorfindel prophesies that not by the hand of man will the Lord of the Nazgul fall. Thus, the Lord of the Nazgul was not afraid when fighting the rider of Rohan named Durnhelm at the Battle of Pelennor Fields. But then Durnhelm is all, no living man am I. You look upon a woman. I'm Eowyn, Aemond's daughter. And goes bam and kills the Witch King of Angmar. And the Hobbit, who doesn't really count. So, what is it called when somebody says the same word, but in 2 different contexts? So the prophecy is like, the Nazgul can't be killed by man, and Eowyn's like, I'm not a man, I'm a woman. You know, here it means like humanity, probably, and here it means, you know, male versus female. So which fallacy is this? This is clearly an appeal to Tolkien. No, it's an equivocation. Okay, very good. So yeah, and it's also it's a bit nerdy, but you know, there you go. If you expect anything different from this class, you're going to be disappointed. So next question. I think we should try to eliminate homelessness. Well, of course, you would say that. You're a Democrat. So which fallacy is this? When you attack the person, not the argument. Indeed, it is ad hominem. So ad hominem is when you go after a person making an argument, not the argument itself. Like the person didn't say anything wrong with the argument that we should try to eliminate homelessness. They just went after the person saying it. So that is definitely ad hom, as we say in the biz. All right, next up, I think we should eliminate homelessness in Fresno. So same argument. You should use the word unhoused instead of homeless, so as not to stigmatize them. The names are hard to remember. That's why there's a cheat sheet. Yeah. And you should probably like review it or something, because these things come up in life all the time. And after you kind of internalize the fallacies and the terminology, like you'll just start seeing this like throughout society. It's very important to just being a member of society to actually understand fallacies. So this person B here is, and again in this class, like whenever I go after one side, I go after the other side and the other one. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. So here, you know, we have a Republican essentially making a fallacy. Here we have person B using what? So person A uses the word homeless. Person B criticizes their use of the word. Clearly, they're a Democrat progressive or something, saying you should use the word unhoused instead. And this is actually a real thing, by the way. Like, there is definitely a movement to use the word unhoused rather than homeless, because homeless has certain negative connotations and unhoused does not. However, I don't think these people recognize that if you just call the homeless unhoused, then unhoused will pick up the negative connotation, and you're right back where you were before. So I don't think it really is going to make the slightest difference, honestly. Yeah, this is frame. Okay, so they're trying to frame the problem differently in a more neutral way. And to be fair, yeah, unhoused currently is more neutral because nobody really uses it. So you'll be able to get a year or two out of that before it just has the same connotations as before. Person A, your company has no credibility. You take too much money from China. Person B, hey, you guys take money from China too. So what fallacy is person B doing? What is the U2 fallacy? Not the YouTube fallacy. All of YouTube is fallacious. What is the U2 fallacy? Tu quotient. Yes, it is tu quoque. So tu quoque is the you are doing the same thing. So they're not really defending themselves, right? Like they're not like being like, oh, we're not taking money from China or something. They're just saying, well, you do too, and it's an appeal to hypocrisy, basically. But the thing is, like, just both of them might be in the wrong on the matter. Okay, Trump is guilty. Everyone says he is. And again, we went after Trump here, so we're going after Biden here. 1-to-1 every time. Anytime there's anything related to politics, it's going to be balanced. Trump is guilty. Everyone says he is. What is it? What fallacy is this when you say everybody knows something to be true? That is technically consensus theory of truth, if you're into that theory of truth. But for people that don't use consensus theory, this is a fallacy, and it's called ad populum. Ad populum is one of those Latin words you should know. For number 6, it's a Latin word you don't need to know, as it turns out, because nobody actually really uses ad verecundium in practice. So for number 6, Biden is mentally incompetent. All of the experts on Fox News say this. In reality, we say appeal to authority is the fallacy. But I like using Latin, and so ad verecundium is basically not used in much in reality. I like it though. I think Latin is cool. So this is appeal to an expert or appeal to authority. Okay. Next up, hey, can you come into my office for a quick chat? For a quick chat. Person B, oh my gosh, I'm getting fired. Oh my gosh. What is person B doing? Which cognitive bias is this? Gonna get fired. Oh my gosh. Indeed, it is in fact catastrophic thinking. And the person might just be like, hey, I just want to say you did a great job today or something. But, the person immediately panics. Right? Question 8. This is a true story, by the way. When I was in Beijing, lots of people told me I must be rich because I'm American. America is a rich country, so all Americans must be rich. True story. I was told this constantly. So what fallacy is this? Because you're a member of a rich country, you must be rich. This is one that we don't do too much. This one is fallacy of division. Okay, where all members of a group share the attributes of that group. Okay. Number 9, this is a true story also. Currently, the Supreme Court has taken up the issue of race in college admissions. If you ask people, do you support, the consideration of race in college admissions, you will get responses from people that are different based on the way that you ask the question. So if you ask people, hey, do you think that Asians and white people should be penalized for being Asian and white? Only 19% of people support race-based admissions in colleges. If you flip it around and you say, should people of color be given bonuses in their admission, then the number of people supporting it doubles almost to 37%. So because it's the same question, but it just matters how you phrase it, this is a great example of what? See, it's just the same question told from a different perspective, right? Because if you have a zero-sum game, if you give a bonus to one group, you're giving a penalty to another group, right? It's literally the same thing, but just asked from a different perspective. And so, what phenomena, or what if you're using this strategically, what is this called? What is it called when the way that you phrase something affects the outcomes? It's called framing. Yep. Yeah, framing is the way that you frame a question makes a tremendous difference in terms of, like, you can see that, like, it's a doubling of support, right? Just based on the perspective that you use when you ask the question. Great argument. However, your mom. Now, I would accept for this red herring. I would accept for this non sequitur. However, those are not on here. So which one is the closest one to great argument? However, your mom. What do you guys think? Yeah, probably AdHom. I would say that's probably the closest thing here. None of the other ones here are like particularly relevant to this meme. Okay. And I literally copied this from Discord. This is what somebody posted on the Discord last semester, so I just like put it onto the midterm. Yeah, there you go. There we go. Okay. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. You get the dancing blob emoji, Jeanette. Okay. So, when you search for facts that agree with your position and ignore evidence that disagrees with your position, this is called what? Human behavior? What we all do? Yeah, probably. When you search for facts that agree with you, that is called motivated reasoning. Okay. Laura on fire with the answers here. Let's say there are 20 studies on orange juice, one of which shows that it causes cancer, 10 of which are neutral, 9 of which says it reduces the risk of cancer. However, the news oftentimes will be like, new breaking study shows that orange juice causes cancer, and they ignore all of the other research on the subject. What fallacy is this? It is not appeal to ignorance. Appeal to ignorance is a very common choice that students make because they're like, well, that's ignorant, therefore it's an appeal to ignorance. But appeal to ignorance is very specifically when you say, I don't know why X is true, therefore something. And it's a very bad argument for them because if you don't know something, you can't conclude anything from it, really, other than I don't know. This is cherry picking. So they are picking the one example that makes orange juice look bad and ignoring the rest. It is a very typical thing that the media will do because it gets attention. Like everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, orange juice causes cancer," and then the fact that there's 19 other studies just gets swept under the rug because it gets the clicks. It's one of the biggest problems with the media. One of them, I guess. Person A: if global warming was real, then I would have to not drive my Ford F-150. But since I want to drive my truck, global warming is not real. So what is it called when you don't like the outcomes of something, so you believe that something is false? appeal to consequence. It is, again, not appeal to ignorance. Appeal to ignorance is a very common answer people give. This is not, I don't know why, therefore X, kind of thing. This is appeal to consequences. I don't like the outcomes of something, therefore it's not true. Okay? It's called Twitter, appeal to consequences. Yeah. All right. So, F in chat, or no, for real, yeah. Okay, what form of argument is this? If global warming is real, then Alaska would be a great place to live. Alaska is a great place to live. Therefore, global warming is real. So, again, on any politically charged issue, we go after both sides. Okay, so if global warming is real, then Alaska would be an amazing place to live. It is an amazing place to live. Therefore, global warming is real. This is affirming the consequent. So, whenever you get into like modus ponens, modus tollens, affirming the consequent, denying the antecedent, what you should have is like just 4 index cards that has each of the different forms like printed out just like on your desk, and you can like hold it up to the screen when you're doing your midterm, right? And the secret is to take this thing here and replace it with X, okay? And take this part here and replace it with Y, okay? Or that's a W, I don't know. And it's like Wu-Tang, right? Okay, so this is X or Y. What do you think? That's X. That's Y. Which one is this? Is this X or Y? If X, then Y. Which one is this? Y. Exactly. Therefore, what? X. So this is affirming the consequent fallacy. Okay? Because it could be that it is a great place to live for other reasons. For example, Denali National Park is amazing. And there's a lot of really beautiful stuff in like Southeast Alaska. It's just an absolutely gorgeous state. Like, I definitely want to go back there and go hike in Denali some more. Unfortunately, the road through Denali is like washed out right now. So I was not able to go into the interior of Denali like I wanted to. Okay. Yeah, but if you guys ever get the chance, like, Alaska's pretty cool. All right. What form of argument is this? X implies Y, X, therefore Y. This is your standard modus ponens argument. Again, just have a flashcard. Like, oh, well, Kearney did that one for me. I don't need to substitute. There you go. Cool. If Harry Potter was real, then magic would be real. Magic is not real, therefore Harry Potter is not real. So if X, then Y, not Y, therefore not X. Again, you see how that substitution works? That's the key. Like, you get rid of all the words and just put a symbol in there. It's actually a lot easier. Just hold up your thing. But God, which argument is this? If X, then Y, not Y, therefore not X. Is this the antecedent or the consequent? It's the consequent. Okay, the antecedent is the first part. The consequent is the consequent. It's the second part. So this is not denying the antecedent. This is denying the consequent, which is actually valid. This is modus tollens. Okay, valid, invalid, or sound. All pirates can swim. You can swim. Let's say this is true. Therefore, you might be a pirate. What do you guys think? All pirates can swim. So there is a group of people called pirates. You can swim. You share an attribute with them. Therefore, you might be a pirate. What do you think? Keyword here is might. If I said you are a pirate, it would be invalid. But as it is, you might actually be a pirate because you share an attribute with them. It's entirely possible that you are, in fact, a pirate. So this is valid but not sound. Now, why is it not sound? After all, I said this is true. We're just going to assume that you can swim because I don't know who you are, so I can't make a multiple choice question with you in it without just saying what it is. But is it true that all pirates can swim? Is it true that all pirates can swim? What do you think? Can all pirates swim? No. So it's not invalid. If the premise is false, it doesn't make it invalid. It makes it unsound, right? There's 2 steps to every one of these valid, invalid, sound questions. The first one, does the logic work? And the answer is yes. For example, if they said all pirates are humans, you're a human, therefore you might be a pirate, is actually valid logic. You might be, right? You share an attribute with pirates. You're a human, they're a human. It's possible, right? The second step is evaluating the truth of the premises. Okay, and people tend to jump ahead to it and be like, "Oh, pirates can't swim, therefore it's invalid." Wrong. That makes it unsound. So the answer is valid but not sound. Okay? Because the logic actually works here. If I said you are a pirate, it would be invalid. But because I said you might be a pirate, it's valid. That's a tricky one. Okay. Now, this is the question that I got the most complaints about on the last midterm. I got a lot of, and by a lot, I mean 2, angry emails on this with students insisting that I got it wrong. Okay. So, premise 1, Bill Kearney was Time Magazine Person of the Year in 2006. Premise 2, you were a Time Magazine Person of the Year in 2006. Conclusion, you might be Bill Kearney. Now, this is the same form of argument as the previous one, right? All pirates can swim. You can swim, therefore you might be a pirate. Bill Kearney was Time Magazine Person of the Year in 2006. Premise 2, you were a Time Magazine Person of the Year in 2006. Therefore, you might be Bill Kearney. What do you guys think? Valid, invalid, or sound? Put your votes in now. First question, does the logic work? If the logic works, then it's at least valid. Okay. So you share an attribute with your professor, therefore you might be your professor. Sounds weird when you say it that way, but we're just talking logic here, not anything super relevant. So we got a bunch of invalids and we got a bunch of valids. All of you guys are wrong. This is actually sound. Remember, sound means it's a valid argument where the premises are true. And it is, in fact, the case that I was a Time Magazine Person of the Year in 2006. And it is also true that you were a Time Magazine Person of the Year in 2006. You didn't know that? Put it on your resume. You were Time Magazine's Person of the Year in 2006. Assuming you're not younger than 17. I'm not going to be able to ask this question in about a year or 2 because it's going to have been 18 years at that point. But as it is, unless you were born after 2006, if you were born, technically this issue came out January 1st, 2007. So if you were born after 2007, then fair enough. I would give you credit if you said it is valid. But if you were born before January 1st, 2007, you are in fact a Time Magazine Person of the Year for 2006. Okay? And yeah, I know, right? It's like, just check that box off. There you go. You are remember, you are incredible. Okay. So yeah, man, the person's like, I was 2 years old. I couldn't have been Time Magazine Person there. I'm like, I'm telling you, man, like they actually published they put a mirror on the thing, And it's like when you're at I was at the grocery store when I saw this, and has a little mirror on it, so you like put your face down, like your face is on the magazine, essentially. So okay. So yeah. If you hear something like this, then you gotta look that up. Who was Person of the Year? So, okay, valid, invalid, sound. Catherine the Great ruled Russia. Catherine the Great was German, therefore Russia has been ruled by German. That is sound. Valid Invalid Sound. Andrew Lloyd Webber, musical fan of the opera, debuted in 1986. Since 1986, the internet has exploded in popularity. Both these statements are true, by the way. Therefore, the Andrew Lloyd Webber, musical fan of the opera, caused the internet to explode in popularity. So, how many people here think that Phantom of the Opera resulted in the internet exploding in popularity? Anyone? No? Okay, so this is clearly an invalid argument. This is true, by the way. That's true, and that's true. They're both true. Both the premises are true. But remember, the first thing you do is evaluate the logic. And what this is here is a correlation, is not causation fallacy. Okay? Just because Phantom of the Opera debuted at a time when the internet was exploding in popularity does not mean the Phantom of the Opera caused the internet to explode in popularity. A little bit of ethical hedonism here. So, scenario: your friend finds a dead bear in the mountains, surrounded by 70 empty baggies of cocaine. True story, by the way. True story. They're making a movie on this called Cocaine Bear. So the bear ate 70 baggies of cocaine and died of a massive cocaine overdose. The bear is clearly died of cocaine. There's still a lot of cocaine left. Your friend proposes several alternatives. Under ethical hedonism, which alternative is the most moral? Party. Get a bunch of your friends together and do the cocaine, yielding 100 units of pleasure, but with a 10% chance of getting shot. Getting shot yields 10,000 units of pain. So our expected outcome is 1,000 units of pain for 100 units of pleasure. Therefore, partying is unethical. Can't do that. Stuff it. Haul the corpse of Cocaine Bear out to a taxidermist and have him stuffed, yielding 5 units of pleasure from the people being slightly amused by it at the local visitor center, which is actually, by the way, what happened with this Cocaine Bear. Be responsible. Report the incident to police, yielding no pleasure or pain. Does the exam include valid and invalid? It does, in fact. Turn it into a movie. Sell the rights to Hollywood for cash money, yielding 50 units of pleasure, but inflicting the minor pain of a bad movie. 1 pain per person who watches it on the millions of people who watch it. So, which one of these options has the highest net pleasure? What? What's up? I'm in class right now, miss.
Oh, take it.
I'm in class right now.
Catch it.
Are you throwing something at me? Sausage McMuffin with egg. All right. Cool. Benefits being married, I guess. All right. So, party? Party has a net negative, right? Because on average, you're going to average negative 1,000 units from getting shot by the cartels. So, stuff it. Final answer. Yep. So, stuffing it had the most net pleasure. So, it is the correct answer. So, yeah, the movie is not the right answer because you're giving 50 units of pleasure, but you're going to cause 1,000,000 units of pain from having people watch a bad movie. Now, I have not seen the Cocaine Bear movie, so I don't actually know if it's bad or not. Who knows? Maybe it'll be hilarious, but this is your question for the midterm. Okay. There's Cocaine Bear in real life. When somebody tells you the story that is completely implausible, such as Cocaine Bear, what should you do as a critical thinker? What is your critical thinker? Put your critical thinker hat on. What do you do when somebody tells you the story of something that sounds completely implausible, like you being Time Magazine's Person of the Year in 2006? What do you guys think? Google it. Yeah, at a minimum, right? Look it up, and holy smokes, there actually was a real Cocaine Bear. Yep. Yeah, just don't believe things because your friends told you something. Don't bother looking into it because it's obviously an urban legend's wrong. No, there actually was a real Cocaine Bear. Okay. So, given this argument, which ethical system is the person using? If everyone did drugs, the world would fall apart and civilization would collapse. Therefore, we have an inescapable duty to not do drugs as a counterbalance to the somewhat humorous questions about drug addiction and bears that we had with the Cocaine Bear questions on the previous 3 questions. So what is it called when you imagine if everybody did the action? And and you imagine if your actions were universal, or like, okay, should I do drugs? Like, imagine a world where everyone's like doing drugs. Is that a better world or a worse world? Um, that is Kantian ethics. That is the inescapable duty is the giveaway here. In fact, because Kant was really big on duty. He loved duty. There's nothing that made Kant happier than duty, inescapable duty. Uh, right. So, which one is this? I've never actually read any of the primary sources, but I watch YouTube. I watch a YouTube video on the subject, so I consider myself pretty much an expert. What would you call this? The average Redditor? Yes, probably. That's not one of the options here. So, what is this? This is a cognitive bias called Dunning-Kruger effect. Correct. So people have watched a single video and now consider themselves experts on something. Okay, this one we didn't cover. Some binary logic. True ended with false is false. Ordered with true is true. Truth table stuff here. Question on Scratch. Question on Python. And then I usually like to throw at least one curveball at you guys. And this one had maybe two, maybe three if you count Cocaine Bear. So, true or false? America had both pirates and Choctaw warriors fighting on its side during the Battle of New Orleans in 1850. And the Battle of New Orleans on the American side was led by Andrew Jackson, who was rather famous for not getting along with Native Americans very, very much. So it seems awfully implausible that Choctaw warriors would be fighting on his side, let alone a contingent of pirates. True or false? What do you think? Did the American Army field a contingent of pirates at the Battle of New Orleans in 1815 after the War of 1812 was over? The answer is true. The U.S. pardoned. They had a bunch of pirates that had been arrested, and they actually pardoned them because they were actually really good at shooting cannons, and so they helped man the cannon line in the fortification line they had built up. And the British charged it, and they got shot up by a bunch of pirates fighting for Old Glory. So, yeah, true story. All right. So, that'll be you guys got till Sunday to do midterm number 2.